What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful spring day here in southern Louisiana. The sun is out, the skies are blue. Can't really complain too much. I think spring is finally here. But today I have another brand of knives that I wanted to share with you today. Quartermaster knives, which I have never featured on my channel before, and honestly had never handled one personally until this one showed up for some sharpening work. So I thought I'd do a little video on it, and I guess to kind of set the stage with Quartermaster knives. I don't know all the history about their company. I believe the owner of their company used to have a knife company called Mantis Knives, I believe. I think that's the right name. And honestly, I heard some kind of not so good things about that company. And earlier on, Quartermaster knives were kind of hit or miss. You know, their fit and finish quality were questionable. I've even seen videos, you know, questioning whether or not they were actually using the steels that they said they were using in their knives. I know there's a video out there. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the YouTube channel name. Oh, it escapes me. But anyways, I think he had a Mr. Roper knife, and you know, it was supposed to be 154 cm, and you know, he was like, you know what, I just don't know if this is 154. It behaves a lot like HCR13. So that video is, you know, a few years old, and you know, this knife is a little bit newer. So maybe we can take a look at some of their production quality now and kind of see if they have evolved as a knife company, if their quality has improved, and you know, maybe if they're worth your money and time to look at. So without any more delay here, guys, let's go ahead and take a look and see what we have in the box here. So it comes with these little cards here. So this is a QSE-2, number 174 out of 300. And the production date says 5/14/15, but I'm not exactly sure the notation that they're using with their knives, because if you look at the knife, it says it's manufactured in 4/14, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, because the way I read this says this knife was made in 2015, and this says it was made in 2014, so not really sure what's going on there. Anyways, USA-made knives. I believe they're a Texas company. You can see the serial number there stamped on the top of the blade there, the spine. And it's kind of funny that they have this card here. Don't expect a successful mission, prepare for it, which kind of makes me laugh. I don't know, it looks like Quartermaster is definitely into the marketing and kind of the hype of their knives. So, I don't know, stuff like that I don't really care about too much. Anyways, let's talk about the knife here, guys. What do we have? So in this QSE-2 model, it's G10 scale here on this side, frame lock design. Has these dual thumb studs here, which we'll talk about in a second. And I think the way I'm going to do this video, guys, is I'm going to talk about the things that I like about this knife first, and then we can talk about some of the things that maybe I don't like so much about this knife. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. So as you can see here, the handle orientation to the blade is not standard. It's about 45 degrees. I think they call that kind of a pistol grip design. So when you hold the knife like this, hold it as you would kind of a pistol with the blade pointing forward. Now a handle to blade orientation like this is primarily for a defensive knife. So I've seen this before from companies like K-Bar. They have a TDI series of fixed blades, which I believe are pretty popular with law enforcement, things like that, or people that want to carry a defensive fixed blade knife. So you know, that design is good for that kind of thrusting, stabbing type you know, motion, but you know, maybe not for everyday cutting tasks. So yeah, well, let's just keep going here. So things I like about this knife. The blade shape on this knife, I think, is quite beautiful. I like it quite a bit. It has this elongated, sweeping, almost kind of like a Persian style, you know, shape to the blade there. Comes to a very fine tip, which you guys can see there. Almost comes up a little bit here towards the tip of the blade, guys. You know, so the blade shape is good. It's about 3 3¾ inches in length. The blade steel is not marked on this blade, guys, so that's something that I kind of wish they would do. With all this information here on the spine, I feel like they could probably at least tell you what steel is in their knife. But from looking at their website, it says this is S35 VN steel, and from sharpening it, I would say it behaved pretty much like S35 VN steel does. I don't really have any questions or concerns about whether or not this is in fact S35 VN. Seems like it is. Takes a good polish. Is what you can see right there. Nice mirror polish I put on this knife. If I can get my edges to show here on camera. There you go. So yeah, it takes a good polish like S35 does. You know, medium wear resistance during the sharpening process. So don't really have any qualms there with that. So good blade shape. Light stone washing on this blade, guys. It's nice. It's okay. The blade itself, I would say, is finished pretty well. The jimping up here on top of the blade is, it works a little bit, not super grippy, but it definitely provides a little bit of traction there for your thumb. The jimping up here, further back on the handle, though, is actually quite good. It provides a good grip there for your hand. Overall, in this position, this pistol grip, the grip is comfortable. It does feel good in your hand, so that's a good thing there. Frame lock design. It's not too bad to open and close. Doesn't stick up too much, you know, in here for disengagement. Not too bad. It's pretty smooth knife. So overall there. All right, so let's talk about the things I don't really like about this knife. The first thing I noticed, guys, when I got this knife had to do with these double thumb studs here, and it quickly became apparent that these are, you know, aesthetic and weren't really designed to be super functional. So there's this little bit of a thumb cutout here, but it's kind of shallow, and honestly these thumb studs are too tall, and you really kind of struggle to get this knife to open. So if you come here from this angle, you know, can't really get anything. Come from the side, can't really get much. But if you get kind of at a diagonal and you kind of push up and out at the same time on this front stud here, you can get this blade to come out. But it's really kind of hit and miss. You know, like you have to get it just right. You have to think about what you're doing. See, sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. See, and there I got it. So, you know, given that this design is for a tactical use, the last thing you want is to have this knife in your pocket and, you know, trying to get it out quickly or something and not being able to deploy the blade. I mean that's just silly. So this design would have been a lot better if they had can't talk today, guys. This design would have been much better if they had just one single thumb stud here in the middle. There's no need for two. It doesn't serve any purpose or function, and as it is, the knife is very difficult to open. You know, it seems to be that, you know, they're knife designers, they put things on knives and they think, oh, you know, let's put two thumb studs on it, it's going to look cool, you know, and you get knives that are designed, you know, to appeal to the eye, but aren't really designed to function when you need them, which, if any of you guys are nut and fancy followers, you know, we talk about the first type of cool, right? So knives that function well, they serve the purpose, and you can depend on them. So this knife here, I would not feel very confident trying to get this out quickly in a situation that was, you know, under stress or had a threat posed towards me. It, yeah, wouldn't carry that. So, next thing, the weight of this knife. This knife is about 7.4 ounces, so that's pretty heavy, guys. 7.4 ounces is about the same weight as the Hinder XM24 that I reviewed not long ago, and that's a much bigger knife than this. So there's a lot of steel in this knife. I'm not really sure, guys, if this is probably a titanium handle on this side, I would imagine. And then on the other side here, I'm not sure if that's titanium or not. I'm guessing it's probably not because it's a heavy knife. So, and even this, I don't know. I'm gonna say this is probably painted steel, guys, or something. The weight of this knife doesn't make me think it's titanium. It's just pretty hefty. I could be wrong, so don't don't quote me on that. But just my gut feeling is maybe it is, maybe it's not. But it has a lot of heft to it. So yeah, it's a heavy knife. Deployment with these thumb studs is goofy. It's not really very good. The frame lock here is not bad. You know, it's actually pretty good the way it opens and closes. So it's not too much of a point there for me to knock it on. The pistol grip, I don't really care for it for an everyday knife. When you go to try to cut things, you know, your handle is hitting the table. You can't even really get your edge to what you're trying to cut unless you really cock your wrist up, you know, in this kind of tight, uncomfortable position. And then at that point, you're basically just getting the very tip of the blade, you know, into what you're cutting. If you guys can, maybe I can do it this way. So if you're trying to cut something, you know, you can see here as this comes up, just the belly kind of portion's hitting there, and you know, if you're up against a table or something, you could get in there, your hand could drop off the side. But overall, I don't care for that blade shape for EDC type knives. You know, if it's a knife you just like and you think it's cool and you just want to have it in your collection, you know, that's totally fine. You know, it's geez, we got a lot of nut and fancy references today. You know, the second kind of cool. If there's a knife in a shape that you look at it and, you know, it just works for you and you like it and it's just, you know, the way it's good for your eye, then, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I can't say, you know, anything bad about that if you just like it. So, but in terms of knives, I kind of like to use them, or evaluate them, I guess, in terms of function and utility. I'm not really a knife collector. I don't really just buy knives because I think they look cool. I always buy knives, you know, with the idea of, you know, how functional is this knife? It's going to serve and roll for me and things like that. So, that said, though, this blade shape is good for slicing. Very good slicer. So let's show some paper here. This S35. Do a couple little cuts here for you guys. Came out nice and sharp. Cuts well. No problems there. So, nice and sharp steel. I will say though, I can't confirm this. I believe this was a new knife when I got it for sharpening, and the edge on it was not good. Not good at all. There were parts of the blade that were sharp, there were parts that were not. There was actually a very large burr right around here towards the back and the straight portion of this blade that you could see clear as day with your eye, you know. Big old burr just sticking right there on the edge, which, you know, for a knife that is, I think it's about $185 this knife is, you know, that's inexcusable. You can't be letting knives, you know, go out of your facility, you know, with burrs on the edges like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's something that the worst Chinese knife companies often get right, you know, that it may be crap steel, you know, the fit and finish isn't good, but, you know, the edge is sharp when you get it, right? So, I guess just a couple of other things I'll hit on. You know, the machining of the G10 is good. You know, the frame lock is not bad. I will say, though, that the hardware on this knife is really not very good quality. It's not up to the standard to the rest of the knife. So, you know, these thumb studs, the handle screws, the pivots, They seem to be very soft metal. The forging, or the milling, I guess you could say, of the hex and Torx heads are not precise. You know, for instance, like on some of these thumb studs, you know, on one side, one of my hex bits would fit into it. On the other side, it wouldn't. You know, and just kind of some weird inconsistencies. You know, very, very clear that this company, you know, does not manufacture their own hardware. Their tolerances in the hardware is not great, and you know, seems to be pretty cheap compared to other companies like, you know, Spyderco or Benchmade, which sell knives in the same price category. So, yeah, you know, it's an okay knife. I wouldn't pay $180 for it. It's definitely, I don't think it's worth it. I would say it's probably maybe $125 knife at the most. You know, so I think overall the fit and finish and production of Quartermaster knives, I think, has improved in the last few years, but it's still not where it needs to be. If they want to be a respectable USA-made company, they definitely need to work a little bit on their production and you know, get some of the issues worked out of their production. So just for a comparison, guys, so large tactical-ish knife. So how about a Spyderco Military? If I had choice between these two knives, no questions asked, Military all day, all day. I mean, look at the blade size on these knives, guys. Pretty much the same. Military actually might be a touch longer. That's not quite showing up there from the angle in the camera there, but you know, overall size, I would say they're pretty similar. You know, but this has a straight handle on it, which I much prefer. S30V, you know, versus S35VN, about the same. You know, for the roll, I would say they're about the same. S35 might be a little tougher, but not a big deal. You know, got a big old blade. But the biggest difference, guys, between these knives, and this is a little bit older Military. I don't know if the newer ones have steel liners in them or not, but this particular Military does not. It just has this nested liner lock here, so it's very lightweight. So on the Military, the weight on this knife, 3.3 ounces. 3.3 ounces in an almost 4-inch folding tactical knife. Very strong. There's no doubt that this liner lock, you know, would hold up in any case that you needed it to. You know, very easy deployment, foolproof. Every time you put your thumb in there, oops, you know, the blade comes out, no problems. Very, very reliable in that regard. So, yeah, 3.3 ounces, guys. This is like 7.4. So, in terms of first kind of cool, again, you know, geez, a lot of these Spyderco knives just get it right. So, that's where I would put my money and trust my life if I had to with a knife like this, guys. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I know I've rambled on for almost 20 minutes here, but I had a lot that I wanted to say, and just wanted to give a detailed and honest review and viewpoint, you know, from my opinion. So, if you guys have any comments or questions or anything you'd like to add to this discussion, please do so below. But yeah, wrap this up, guys. Have some more knife videos coming soon, and just stay tuned. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys soon. All right.